Raining fish sounds like something from a dream, a physical impossibility, but in the town of Yoro, Honduras, it is a documented reality that happens every single year. Picture standing in a heavy storm, looking up to see the clouds break, only to be struck by a living fish falling from the sky. It sounds like a joke until you're standing in a puddle of fish. When these massive summer storms clear, the locals don't find empty streets. They find thousands of fish carpeted across the pavement. They are thrashing in the mud of the football fields, flopping in the gutters, and scattered across the front yards. This is the Lluvia de Peces, the rain of fish, and for over 160 years, it has remained one of the most persistent, unexplained mysteries on the planet. The event follows a violent, predictable pattern that the locals have learned to read like a clock. It starts with a dark, massive storm front that rolls over the mountains. Heavy rain, intense lightning, and thunder that literally shakes the valley floor. The weather is so extreme that everybody is forced indoors. The streets go silent, except for the roar of the storm. But the moment the clouds break, the town doesn't go back to business as usual. They emerge with buckets and baskets to harvest a gift that technically shouldn't be falling from the clouds. The most unsettling part of the mystery isn't just that the fish are on the ground, it's the fish themselves. When biologists examine them, they find that they aren't from any local river or lake. Most are a specific type of small, silver, sardine-like fish from the genus Astyanax, though catfish from the genus Ramdia have also been documented. Even more bizarre, many of these specimens are completely blind. They have no use for eyes, because where they come from, there is no light. For the people of Yoro, the explanation isn't found in a textbook, it's spiritual. In the mid-1800s, a Spanish missionary named Father José Manuel Subirana arrived to find a region gripped by extreme poverty and starvation. Local tradition says he spent 3 days and 3 nights in a state of deep prayer, pleading for a miracle to feed the population. The legend claims that the storms began shortly after his prayer concluded, and the fish have returned annually ever since. To the locals, this is the blessing. But science has spent decades trying to prove the miracle wrong and find a physical cause. One of the most common questions from outsiders is whether the fish are part of the natural water cycle. We know that evaporation draws water vapor into the atmosphere to form clouds, but evaporation is a molecular process. It moves gas, not solid mass. It is physically impossible for evaporation to lift a school of fish into the sky. For a fish to reach the clouds, it would require a much more violent mechanical force. This leads many to the waterspout theory. A waterspout is essentially a tornado that forms over the ocean, creating a vacuum that can suction up surface life and carry it into the high altitude winds. These biological missiles can be transported for miles before the storm loses energy and drops the cargo. But the geography of Yoro makes this almost impossible. The nearest sea is the Caribbean Sea, which is roughly 75 kilometers away. For a waterspout to carry thousands of living fish over high mountain ranges and drop them in the exact same valley every year, without the fish being scattered across the jungle or killed by the pressure, is a meteorological miracle in itself. Furthermore, these are freshwater fish, and the Caribbean is saltwater. It simply doesn't add up. This led National Geographic researchers in the 1970s to do a much more grounded and perhaps more unsettling theory. Honduras is built on a massive foundation of limestone, a rock that is easily carved away by water to create vast, unmapped underground river systems and flooded caverns. Because the fish that appear after the rain are often blind, researchers believe they spend their entire lives in total darkness beneath the town's feet. The theory is that when these extreme seasonal storms hit Yoro, a massive influx of rainwater doesn't just sit on the surface, it surges into these deep underground chambers. The pressure builds until it becomes a subterranean explosion, forcing the water and the fish up through crevices, sinkholes, and the very soil itself. To a witness standing in a downpour with limited visibility, it looks like the fish are falling with the rain. In reality, they are being vomited up from the ground. Imagine being one of these fish, living its entire life in the absolute silence and darkness of an underground cave, only to be suddenly caught in a high-pressure surge and shot hundreds of meters into the air. For a few terrifying moments, a creature that has never seen the sun is skydiving through a thunderstorm, suspended over a mountain valley before gravity finally slams it onto the pavement. Yet even this theory faces pushback from those who live there. Local witnesses continue to swear they have seen the fish falling through the air from the height of the clouds. They describe the fish as being icy cold to the touch, as if they have been sitting in the freezing temperatures of the upper atmosphere, not the temperate waters of an underground cave. As of now, Yoro is the only place on the planet where this specific phenomenon is consistently documented. But imagine if it isn't the only one. Imagine the thousands of miles of uninhabited jungle and mountain ranges where no one is watching. If the earth can erupt like this in one small valley in Honduras, it's a chilling reminder of how little we actually know about the world beneath our feet, whether it is a miracle, a meteorological fluke, or a surge from the deep earth. Yoro remains a reminder that the world is far more strange than our models allow. In this valley, when the sky turns black, you don't run for cover, you grab a bucket and wait for the earth to provide.